Hey, it's Jeffrey Pepper Rogers here with another episode of Guitar Sessions. And that little guitar figure comes from Tracy Chapman's Fast Car. Amazing song from her 1988 self-titled debut. Grammy winner when it came out. Such a powerful song and so unlike anything else at the time, especially anything else on the radio. Just a really powerful portrait of people struggling, so real and haunting, the storytelling. The song's also got a great guitar part, which is very repetitive and almost trance-like, I'd say. And the way I see it is very closely related to Blackbird, the Beatles tune. The two songs have fingerings in common and the same, using some of the same shapes. And wouldn't surprise me at all if Tracy Chapman had been fooling around with Blackbird when she happened upon the pattern that became Fast Car. I don't know. But anyway, in this lesson, I'm going to show you the guitar part, which is really fun and different kind of part to play. Very sparse and effective. So let's get rolling. And first, I'm going to bring up the tab here. So all the tab from this lesson is available over on Patreon. You can find the link in the description. But here is the first line of it. So this is the verse pattern. So the first thing to notice about this is we've got a simple chord progression, which is just, well, first of all, I've got my capo at the 2nd fret. And then I'm using C, G, E minor, D, and the entire verse is built around that progression, never changes. But of course, she's not using simple open shapes. She's moving up the neck and playing these just little pieces of chords. So that's what we'll get into now. So to start off this pattern, so first thing to notice about the notation, the down-stemmed notes written out there, you should play with your thumb, and the up-stem notes with your fingers, meaning probably your index or middle fingers. And this song is also a good candidate for hybrid picking, if you want to do it that way, where you use a flat pick. And you play the bass notes with the pick, and then the treble notes, the melody notes, with your fingers, which would mean your middle and ring fingers, since those are the ones that are free. But I'm going to opt to play this right now with my fingers. So starting off with this pattern on a C, so I'm just playing the bass note on the 5th string, and then on top of that, I'm playing this little hammer-on pull-off figure on the 2nd string, where I'm just playing the open 2nd string, hammering onto the 1st fret, and then pulling it off. And then I land on that G, 2 notes from the G shape, so I just got the bass note on the 6th string, the melody note on the 2nd string, 3rd fret, and then the last part of that is just playing the 2nd and 3rd strings, ending with the open 3rd string. So that first measure is like this. C, G. And then we've got this big position shift. We're sliding all the way up to this. So I've got the 7th fret on the 5th string and the 8th fret on the 2nd string. And from playing this G here, I'm gonna hear that slide on the 2nd string with me going up to this position, which is the E minor. And then we go from there to, this is what we're playing for the D. It's just 5th fret on the 5th string, 7th fret on the 2nd string, and then another open 3rd string. So if you put those two measures together, this is what you get. And then the way it's written out here, we're just going to do the exact same thing again. So let me play it through a little slowly. I'll count it off. 1, 2, 3, 4. So such a sparse part and really sweet sounding there. There's this syncopation that is going on throughout the song. We're often playing on the offbeats, the bass notes as well as the melody notes. So that is the first part of it. And then let us go on to the next line. An awful lot of the verse is just that same pattern that I just played, just that 2-bar pattern repeated, but there is one significant variation that pops up, which is what I'm showing here. So the first measure of what I got written out here is the same as what we already played. When it goes to that E minor, got this, so I'm in this shape where I'm got my index finger on the 7th fret of the 5th string, my ring finger on the 8th fret of the 2nd string, and then I'm going to add on my pinky to get that note at the 10th fret. So I'm staying in that same shape, but then just adding the pinky on and taking it back off, going down to the D shape and adding the pinky on again to go to 8th fret, 7th fret. So that little phrase, if I play those first 2 measures of what you're seeing here together, it goes like this. And I continued on into the next measure. So goes back to that same CG figure again, and then this last measure is just a very slight variation on what we played before, where I'm playing that open 3rd string after the E minor, and then I'm playing it again after the D. So there are very small variations that pop up through the tune, but that is the basic thing that happens all the way through. So here's what the chord progression looks like. Just the chords. So we already saw the verse part, and then when it goes into the chorus, we've got the first 4 measures are actually the same chords as in the verse, same order, but each one is held for a full measure. And if I'm playing this with my fingers, I might pick bass notes with my thumb and then use strums just by kind of flicking my nails across the strings like. And then we have this little syncopated line on C, E minor, and D, so like. So I'm doing and then I've got a little slap. I'm just dropping my hands down onto the strings. C, slap, E minor, D, does that twice, and then back into the verse pattern again. So those are the only 2 parts of the song. And one thing I wanted to note about the chord progression that's really striking to me. So this is playing in the key of G, well, the G shapes, which are capoed up, so they're actually sounding in A, but I'm going to refer to them like we're playing in the key of G. So the G is the one chord here in this progression. But in the verse, the G, the one chord, only comes up in the middle of the progression. It's the second chord. And at the end, it leaves us with that E minor and the D. That chord progression never really resolves. It doesn't land on the one and you feel like you've arrived and resolved. And in the chorus, too, there's only one G chord. It comes up, it's the second chord in the chorus. Otherwise, we're on all these other chords, and there's just a feeling of lack of resolution that's built into the harmony in that song, built into the chord progression, which is totally appropriate for the story, somebody being kind of caught in limbo. The chords, the harmony never fully relax. The groove-wise, the song kind of takes off a little bit on the chorus. This brief sort of feeling of being free, but other than that, it's a lot of thinking about escape, but not quite getting there. And it's not until the last note of the song, the last chord of the song, when it really resolves to the one. So here's what I'm talking about. So this is the very last time through this little pattern, where it goes like this. It's just the same as what we played before, but it's going to just stop on the G halfway through that last measure. So like this. And when you're listening to that song, you can really feel that resolution. And it feels very tied in with the storytelling of the song, and I think really adds to the power. So a great song, and if you haven't heard it in a while, I encourage you to go and check it out. That whole album is full of amazing tunes, and I hope you enjoyed trying out the guitar part here. Once again, I'm Jeffrey Pepper Rogers, and thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.